What is up, y'all? It's your girl, brand new, and honey, I am back in the building. This time, honey, I'm back with a Love and Marriage Huntsville extra, honey. We got Mr. Carlos King on the line, honey. He did an interview with Crystal XOXO. Y'all know I love her YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. They did a nice little interview, and Miss Robinson wanted to do some commentary. Okay, nothing too fancy smancy. Okay, just want to give my opinion and stuff. So anyways, you guys, without further ado, I'm going to play that audio, and I will be in and out with my commentary.
He has the anatomy of reality TV down to a science. And I cannot wait to pick his brain tonight. So please help me welcome tonight's guest for Reality Check, the one and only Carlos King.
Who you saying? Yes. Hello.
Hey, Carlos, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again, as always.
Good to see you. Oh my God. So the last time we talked, we were talking about the fact that Love and Marriage Huntsville continues to like break records, and then you introduced DC, which has gotten off to a crazy start, and then we added a nightcap.
I want to know how the ratings for DC look, honey, because quiet is kept, honey. They say that people ain't watching it, honey. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments.
To talk about everything, all things Carlos King and all things reality. So first of all, let's just start out by saying congratulations on Carlos, the Nightcap with Carlos King and Love and Marriage DC, and of course another, ball-busting season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. You have got to be on a career high right now.
I really am. I don't drink, smoke, or do none of those things. My career is my natural high. Mm-hmm. And you're right, Crystal. It's because I love what I do, and I really take pride and pleasure in making sure that my shows resonate with an audience like yourself, who are just fans of watching real people live these lives and just be so real and authentic. And it's been a joy. And then on top of that, to have a late night show on the Oprah Winfrey Network has been a dream. Yeah. So again, it's my love letter to my reality fans who are able to just come here and really get a taste of Black culture, pop culture, and just have fun watching us talk about all of their favorite reality shows.
Well, you are definitely doing that. But like I said when I introduced you, I think you have figured out the science of reality TV and what works, especially when it comes to your core audience. You know how to pick casts that are able to really give us great storylines, but also really connect with their demographics. So what is that Carlos King formula that keeps us glued to our seats, but also really keeps us like we're invested in these people's lives? Like we want them to win. We want to see them grow.
Yeah, no, great question. You know what it is, Crystal, is the fact that I'm really good at casting. Because at the end of the day, a show is only successful if it's cast as someone that an audience wants to watch, So I really make sure that I bring people to the forefront who I think have interesting stories. So when you look at Love and Marriage Huntsville, and you have Melody and Martell and these regular people from Huntsville, Alabama, and to be able to resonate with them and to see something about them that you can relate to is the gift that I think I have, and to make sure that I extract the truth from them so that they're able to be honest in front of the camera, and then of course reap the benefits of course being a part of a successful show. So
now really quickly, guys, who from Love and Marriage Huntsville do you feel needs to go? If you could vote a couple off, please put that couple in my comments. I really do feel that Tiffany and Lewis, they can go if they don't give us a real storyline. Like the real storyline is, I believe Tiffany wants to be with another man. That's what I think the real storyline is. Okay, but that's just me. I just feel like you guys, they are not bringing it, and I kind of dread their scenes now. I know Miss Robinson was a big fan, but when I see them now, it's like watching paint dry. Okay, trying to watch a game of baseball. Miss Robinson ain't interested. It just seemed like we're not really getting the real, right? They're not being transparent. Look, there's that word. Now, I do feel like their marriage is healthier than some of the other couples, but they struggling, okay? They are. So, honey, we need like another couple on there. Maybe Stormy. We could see more of Stormy and her husband. Maybe that dynamic. Maybe we can get Miss Wanda and her boyfriend. I know y'all like, girl, we don't want to see her damn boyfriend. But like, we need another couple, don't y'all think? Or Maurice and Kimmy, they ass can go. But they'll never get rid of Maurice and Kimmy because they do need that couple that's like neutral and in the middle, and then Kimmy and Maurice is connected to Tisha Marceau, but we need a new couple. Let me know what you guys think.
Doing that with the Love and Marriage franchise, and we announced that Bell Collective is coming back for
I'm today. That. Congratulations again. It's just blessings on top of blessings.
Yes. Amen to that. So again, these boss women in Jackson, Mississippi, who are entrepreneurs and they're self-made, and the fact that we're giving them a platform to be inspired by other Black women, but to also see that it's not easy being the breadwinner in your household, or to be so successful as a woman that sometimes it does interfere in your personal life. So this season, we're diving more into their relationships. With their husbands and their boyfriends, and there's some scandals going on in Jackson, child.
It was, trust me, the first season there was some issues, but the reality is, and I was talking with a friend about this earlier today. When you see, especially with women, you see a woman that's ambitious and climbing the ladder of success. There's going to be some, there's going to be some areas where she's not successful. Shonda Rhimes did this amazing conversation, and she said, if I have a show, I'm getting awards for this, probably there, the kids, I may not have been able to be a parent-teacher conference. There's going to be some balance. So how do you find that sweet spot for your cast members? And then also, how do we encourage the audience to have a little grace? Because, your audience is real specific about what they want.
And they love to let me know that.
So let's look at someone like a Destiny. Let's do a case study here, right? So you have Destiny that joined Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now that cast was very specific. We had the Scotts and we had the Holts. So you introduce someone else and we're just like, wait a minute. So how do you know for someone like Destiny and then later I think Tiffany, like how do you know what will work? Or do you ever think, well, this may not work. I may need to pull this person from the lineup because it's not really working. We know some other series, they got like one season to make things pop. And if you don't pop, you're not gonna get that peach. But So how do you know how do you know if the audience is really giving you a lot of flack for someone, if that person really is going to work with this cast and you're really going to get the best from them? And we use Destiny as a starter for that.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about the Love and Marriage franchise, and we'll just start with Huntsville since you brought up Destiny, is unlike other reality shows, I don't cast people for a moment. I don't cast people who come off the woodworks and they have no connection to the cast. The beauty of Destiny is she and Martell went to school together. Destiny and Melody were friends because of her husband LeBerick and Martell also being friends. So that's how Melody was able to meet Destiny. So it was organic in that sense. So that's why it works when I introduce people, because I don't just do a big open call like, if you want to join Love and Marriage Huntsville, sign up on the dotted line. No, you have to already be a part of someone's life. And you see that with Stormy this season. You see that with Tiffany Whitlow. It's always people who have history with somebody on the show. You're right.
Kiki, what is the cousin? Tisha's
cousin. Kiki, do you love me? I love Kiki, okay? Kiki gonna tell the damn truth about them damn Scots, okay? And Carlos, you better make sure that Kiki is at that damn reunion.
You got Kiki acting up.
Yes, Kiki is everything. I love me some Kiki, honey. So, again, it's, you know what it is, Crystal? I never want my audience to get comfortable.
Okay.
Because this is the thing. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So if I had the same cast for 4 years, the audience would be like, oh my God, they talk about the same stuff. Yeah. I'm over it. I'm bored. There's nothing new happening. So then we gave you Destiny, and we saw what happened with that. They hated Destiny her first season. No one liked Destiny.
Honey, they still don't like her because her ass be over there lying. Okay, Destiny girl, Miss Robinson tried to have your back. I really did. Now look, I'm a woman of my word. I said what I said. I still feel like Melody didn't have to throw that utility notice in that girl face. Okay, she could have said, I babysat Law, on your lunch break. I was a good friend because I would come over at the drop of a hat and hug you and listen to your problems, stuff like that. I'm not really a fan of throwing money problems, because even though I don't like the girl like that, she did just give birth, just had a baby by the barbecue man, okay, the barbecue sauce. Okay, like, I have a heart, okay? Like, I know that finances, can be a little crazy. And then we got COVID and businesses are shutting down. The girl probably can't get out the house hardly. I understand those type of things. But other than that, Destiny, you on your own, honey, because Miss Robinson had caught you in a few lies. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it on another video.
I didn't like her. Then we had Tiffany. No one liked Tiffany.
No.
They said, girl, bye.
I was concerned, Carlos. I was like, she ain't going to make it, because it kept getting progressively worse.
And Carlos' ass was loving it with his messy ass. I like Tiffany, and I always like Tiffany. Okay, I'm not here for the little light-skinned Karen stuff that she do. But I always like Tiffany's timing. Tiffany will make you want to smack her, but that's good TV. That's what we want to see, okay? And she's so innocent about it. She ain't all aggressive, okay? Like some people.
The audience, even now, I'm still looking at Tiffany with the side eye, like, girl, is you gonna work?
Yeah, so we'll see. And then we have Stormy, and people are like, Carlo, this ain't Love and Hip Hop, this Stormy. And then we have Kiki. It was the beautiful thing about Kiki's addition to the show is she is literally Tisha's first cousin, blood related, like cousin, right?
Alike. They low key look alike. Like you see the resemblance. All of them, Miss Wanda and
Wanda, right? Yes, the lineage is definitely that in the DNA, honey.
Yes.
So who knew that these cousins had this issue? And it wasn't until she came to the pajama party that Melody threw, and we were like, oh, what's going on with Kiki? And then it was like, let's see more Kiki. And then the audience, which is funny, they love some Kiki.
They are shocked because you know what? It's the fact that, and that's what I think it is the genius that is the way you do things, right? Because you are able somehow to get people to share things in an authentic way that is true to because there are a lot of other shows, and we're not naming any other names, but the storylines are created, and then you see people not really, it doesn't feel authentic because it goes away a couple episodes. But these are long-standing relationships, like you just said, where there is history, but you got cousins talking about, I mean, they're airing out family business with the OWN network.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Yeah. No, but you know what it is too, Crystal? It's so relatable. Like, I feel like everybody has that one family member, whether it's a sibling, a cousin, you know, or your father's other kids. There's always some family drama.
Yes.
I have, unfortunately, family drama. I'm not even exempt.
Right.
Carlos King, and I always deal with like, so-and-so said this about you, so-and-so said that about you. It's so relatable. So when I watch Kiki and Tisha, I can relate to it. I can relate to this push and pull relationship. And I knew that if I was able to bring this to the forefront, my hope, honestly, and this is no BS, my hope is that they can heal.
Yeah.
And find their way back to each other. And I strongly believe they will. Mm-hmm. But I give Tisha all the props in the world, seriously, for being able to say, you know what, let's talk about it. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about this cast. They show up and show out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you went to DC, because we know that Monique and her husband had, you know, some history on television, and that was explosive, and people were really, I think, disappointed that she wasn't on the show that she was on before. I was one of those like, well, that's not fair. It just didn't seem right. But can I tell you, Monique is much more at home on Love and Marriage. DC, it feels just like a better fit.
Yes.
Did you know that? Did you see her on the other show and think this would be a better format for her?
Yeah, so I told Monique this. I didn't like season 1 of that show. I just thought it wasn't real. And then second season came about, and Monique, of course, started to be a part of the second season. And I thought she was a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. And when Monique's on camera, she's so present. Yeah. That she's engaged. She's beautiful to look at. She's funny. And she's real. She's serious. She's like, wait. She's nosy. So she's like, wait, what's happening? I need to know. What? So over the course of her being on that show, I never felt that we saw the full picture of her. Yeah. And I never felt that we saw the full picture of Chris. Because that show isn't about their relationship. It's about the friendships with the women. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when she left the show, I reached out to her. We became friends. And when the opportunity arose to franchise Love and Marriage, I wanted to start in DC to give her an opportunity to come back on television, but to also give her fans an opportunity to see something different. Yeah. And again, I give her and Chris all the props in the world for showing people that they were not at that time in the best place in their marriage. Mm-hmm. And again, there's people who say, Monique nags all the time. All she does complain. You got this rich man and you drive a Rolls Royce and a Bentley, and you got all these fashions in your closet. But the fact that most women who are in Monique's position, they would say, girl, I spent his money, so I don't care. He can do what he want to do. I'm going to stay quiet. Mm-hmm. I really don't understand why women are having a problem with her voicing her concern, because to me, if she did not love this man or care about him, she wouldn't be so invested in making sure he changes and lives up to the expectations of what their vows represented.
I'm over here rolling my eyes and sucking my damn teeth. Okay, no. Like I said before, in a relationship, when you come into a relationship, you are a different person. So after you have been with somebody for a certain number of years, you change into another person due to life and experiences and job changes, friend changes. You know, you may lose some people through death, you know, through just the natural fluidity of life, right? So I feel like with Monique, she does nag. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of on Monique's side because I felt like she was really challenging the man she loved to step up, because I am a woman that has been in relationships where, I just felt like we were stagnant. It felt like, this thing is dead. And if we don't get it, bring it back to life, honey, do some emergency CPR, Miss Robinson is gone. Okay, so that is how I have felt in relationships over the years. So at first I saw where she was coming from, and then after a while, it's, well, you ain't doing this and you ain't doing that. Now, it's the fact that the last episode I recap, we got Chris actually saying that he don't like how Monique has been tearing his damn name down, saying he don't do this, he don't do that, when in reality, he provides a great living for her and the children. He pays all the bills. He probably is the one with the most investments. When Monique first got with him, she didn't have anything. So you take somebody going from nothing and they get with somebody that has something. Number one, those first 5 years, she just happy to be there, to be, eating off of him. And I'm sure she loved him, right? I'm not going to take that from her. But that is how most people are. They are always on their best behavior about them first 5 years. And then once you get to the 7 to 10 years, it becomes a situation of, I'm used to this. Because even if we take the finances out of this situation, Chris and Monique are two human beings that, they are beginning to get used to each other. And what I got from Monique was, and I even noticed this on Potomac, it just seemed like she was bored with him. And we heard the complaining on that show. Because it was always, well, he don't do this for me, and he don't do this, and I'm going to put this in a box right next to Candace's box. And then you brag about your marriage and throw it into other women's faces, especially at the reunions. And then do you see what I'm saying? She's always nagged him, and in reality, you got to watch how you communicate with your man if you want him to listen. And another thing is, you are not gonna be the same with your man spiritually. Like, he may have his own way of doing things, and it may not have anything to do with you. So we have to allow people to be one with themselves and to be individuals. And that is something that I have observed from Libras. They try to make everything into a team. And I get you are man and wife, but when you all die, and hell, when you was born, you came into this world, by yourself. And then when you die, you will be leaving by yourself. You could be married all you want to, right? But you have to allow people to be their own individual person. And Chris and Monique are two different people. He allows her to be her. I don't think she allows him to be him. It's always, he needs to be doing something. He needs to be doing this. Hell, he got all these, investments and stuff, and he didn't, played all this football, probably injured and hurt himself. And, if he just wants to relax at home with the kids or just sit up in the house, by all means, let the man do that. Everybody don't want to be super ambitious and do 10, 20 different things. And that is the person that Monique is. Like, this bitch got all the help in the world, right? Miss Not for Lazy Moms, all right? You hear it in the title, right? So, they are just two different people, and you got one that, is like really driven. I get that from Monique. Okay, but girl, y'all not rich off your money. Okay, y'all rich off Chris money. Let's be very clear. So I think with her, it just kind of feels like you guys, and I could be wrong, but it feels like she's outgrowing him, and it's kind of like she's bored with him. And as women, we sometimes will get to that level with our man, whether you married to him or not. It's like, you know what? It's like a lemon. You done squeezed all the juice about the lemon, and you ain't gonna be able to get no more fresh juice. Okay, you gotta let that lemon go. So it may be a situation where they may need to separate. I don't wish that on them and their family. I think they have a beautiful family, but I do feel that she be nagging on him too much. So Carlos, I call bullshiggity. Okay, because we heard from Chris, we heard him complain. He was complaining for a reason, because he was sick of it. Okay. Like, you got all these raggedy men on reality TV dogging and disrespecting their wife. And Chris, he don't never do that to Monique. We don't never see him, doing that. Okay, no, he's not perfect, but hell, we do have to clap. I actually watched a video where the woman was like, well, I'm not going to clap for these niggas that's not embarrassing us because they shouldn't be embarrassing us. I said, no, we do need to clap. Like, if we're going to get on men for all their bad behavior, we got to honor them when some of them are doing good. And I will clap, honey, for Chris Samuels, okay? Ms. Robinson will do a nasty Holy Ghost dance for that man, okay?
So she's a tough cookie. She's dealing with it. And we just picked the reunion and she addresses it.
Oh, I can't wait to do that.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Crystal. She fits so beautifully on this show. She does.
Yeah, it just feels the friend. I think it's even when you talk about the relationships, I like seeing the couples. I think that our community, we need to see the reality of family, right? Whatever that looks like. It's not realistic to think that people have these relationships and their families are not a part of that. So I love the family, but then I also think the friendships between the ladies, the friendships, the frenemies and all that, it just feels like a better fit for her here. Now, I mentioned that, I feel like you have the prototype of how this works. I remember hearing Mona Scott say years ago that the only thing that she requires is that you have a story and that you're willing to tell your story. What are you looking for specifically? I get it that, they have to be someone that the audience would connect to, and there's got to be some meat there. But what do you think audiences want to see? What type of women or what type of men do you feel like other people want to connect to and want to root for? What is that ingredient that makes it like, okay, I connect with her?
Yeah. For me, my DNA will always be the Black professional. I think that's what people want to see. I think people want to be inspired by reality stars who are on television. I think that's the first step. Like, you want to see a professional, a college educated or well educated or girl educated in these streets. Because, honey, there's tons of education. I think at the forefront is professional. Like, I have a job. I have a career. I'm hustling. I'm making money.
I'm going somewhere. I'm doing something, right?
I'm doing something. So you start there. You're like, okay, I'm into it. Let's see how you're working. And I think after that, Mona's right. They need to have a story to tell. Because, listen, you can be as perfect looking as Beyonce knows, right? But you also want to know what she's going through in her household.
Yeah.
You want to know, like, girl, what's really happening in the child?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you're intrigued by her talent, you're intrigued by her beauty, but you want to know more, and you're begging for more, so that you can go like, oh, girl, I feel you, sis, so I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
Well, you do need to have a story to tell, because there's tons of people who I meet with who are like, put me on TV, put me on TV. And it's not about how good you look or how much money you have. That doesn't mean anything. It really is about if you are a professional and if you have something really personal that I feel like, ooh, I've never seen that before, or that's really dynamic. That's my specialty, and that's the reason why if you look at my catalog of shows, you will see at the forefront, I work with Black professionals.
Absolutely. I agree. That is, I think, one of the things that set Love and Marriage Huntsville apart, because you had these couples, but there was this underlying theme of entrepreneurship and Black excellence, and that, even though they're having problems, they really are trying to leave a legacy. And you can, you feel that, because we're all trying to do that. So I want to do a little pivot here. I want to talk about this Nightcap, because you hosted that reunion. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most entertaining reunion I've ever seen. So we were hyped up. We were primed and ready for the Nightcap. So I'm going to play this little clip from the Nightcap, and then let's talk about how you get your cast to spill all their tea with you again. After they spill it on the show, they come on the show with you and spill even more.
Sip on some tea and throw some shade. In DC, there was this big question of the hour. Is y'all sex life that bad? Take a look.
We was talking about the romance, bring the romance back in a relationship.
Yeah.
She mentioned that she knew a sex therapist.
Yeah, she talking about this at the table in front of all these people.
Used to do foreplay, romance,
You don't
all
let
that.
me. When I want to know that, right? She shuts me down. She liked it plenty.
You were younger back then. You did a little bit more with your tongue.
Do you think Arena and Jamie needs help in their sex life?
Clearly, at least they're not on the same page.
Well, speaking of sex, you're abstinent, right?
Once I divorced, I went back to being abstinent. Now, I did have a little fun in there, and then I went back to being abstinent. So before I met Kevin and married him, we were abstinent. We did not kiss until we got engaged. Oh, wow.
Let's talk about what you've been seeing.
Okay. First of all, do you believe that, Carlos?
Well, look, what did I say to you? I like to bring people on television who have a story to tell that's very unique and interesting that you've never seen before. I, in my lifetime, have never heard of anyone. I've heard of people saving themselves for marriage. I've heard that, right? Honey, I never heard of anybody saving themselves for an engagement. So when she said we didn't kiss until we got engaged, I'm like, how would you know if you guys are compatible, at least like romance? Listen.
Chemistry. I don't know about that one, Carlos. I question that.
Maybe with a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure. But you have couples, professional people, talking about their sex lives. And that's often a very uncomfortable conversation for couples to have, even with each other. So to have it with each other, and then to share it with the world, and then to come back and share it again with you. What are you doing to these people?
No, this is what it is, Crystal. Listen, I'm a trained journalist. I went to college for journalism. And I'm like everyone's best friend. I've always been, and this is a true story, ever since middle school, I've always been the guy that people told their business to.
Yeah.
And they always said to me, like, I just feel comfortable talking to you because I know you're not judging me. And they say, you really ask good questions that we want to tell you the truth. So I had that ability, Crystal, at the age of like 11. And 30 years later, I still do it. And what's funny is it goes to show you the trust and the camaraderie that I have in my cast. And I think that's super important when you're in my position, that at the end of the day, you can tell that they love me. And you can tell that I'm a super fan of theirs too.
You can see that, because when I watched the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion, which was the first one that you did, it was explosive. But I was glad that you did it, because I don't think anyone else would have. And it was a lot of very sensitive topics, especially with Melody and Martell and their fallout after the divorce. I don't think anyone else would have been able to really get what you were able to get from the cast, all of them.
I think he did really good with that, but I think he should have held Marceau's feet to the fire a little bit more about that Vegas trip, about him renewing his vows with Tisha, and why you couldn't get up and say a few kind words to your wife. I think they went straight into Marceau and Lewis is hating on Marceau's marriage, which is bullshiggity. I think he just could have did better with asking Marceau different questions, because Marceau, he just literally, you know, skates through things. Like, he always leads the audience and even some of his cast members like on a tangent, okay? Like leave them just out in the middle of nowhere. We be confused. But honey, Miss Robinson, it's quite clear. I know he just full of shit. He a narcissist. Narcissists, they don't like telling the truth. They like telling lies and trying to rewrite history to make themselves look good. So I know, what he be doing, but I need for him to hold Marceau especially, hold him more accountable. I think that everybody be so focused on Martell because of all the things that Martell has did, and I feel like when they do that, they do a disservice, right, to the people that want to know more about Marceau and why he treats his wife the way that he does, and why the hell she put up with it. So yeah.
Because there is that personal, intimate relationship there.
No, thank you for noticing that. And again, I think people seeing that, they were like, oh, we got to do this late night show. Like, people love Carlos and they love that he's nosy. But they also know that they have this, like I said, this chemistry. It's very interesting. When I send you, Crystal, I'm having the time of my life taping the show.
You can tell. Is there anyone, because we know you've had quite a few housewives. You had a housewife reunion. You've worked with them early on. Is there anyone in that franchise or even just on television period, celebrity period, that you would love to work with, that you think would be, or what you think would be great TV, period? Maybe not on one of your shows, but you just think that person would make for great TV.
I would love to work with Lori Harvey.
Yeah, that's a pretty picture that we don't know what's going on, what's happening behind that.
Black professional, gorgeous, and I feel like she has a story to tell.
Yeah.
So
what story is she telling on how to get around? Okay, shit. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan. No, that's Miss Robinson's boo. I'm not interested in Lori Harvey. I think she rubbed me the wrong way when I saw her. Think it was the Rock Nation brunch or something, and Beyonce was there with Jay-Z, and she's all in Jay-Z's face and smiling, and Beyonce was kind of looking at her. I don't like chicks like that, thirsty. Then you dated Future. Why you dating niggas on the first floor? I mean, she ain't with him no more, but you should never be with a nigga like Future with all them kids. That's like just going to the ghetto and moving in, honey, and staying for about 5 years. That's the wrong move. That's hustling backwards, Lori. Okay, don't do that no more, Lori. Lori need to get with somebody, stay, have a few babies, and then, other than that, I'm not trying to be funny, you guys. I think she's a beautiful woman, but when I saw her doing that shit to Beyonce, I'm like, bitch, you ain't Beyonce. You alright. You don't look as good as Beyonce, honey. Don't be trying to come, for the queen and her man and stuff. I didn't like that. Heifer.
Number one on my list.
I like that. We're gonna put that in the universe, and I'm tuned in. When that happens, Carlos, I'm tuned in. First seat at the reunion. I'm right there. I am right there. I saw that you were asked about Kandi Burruss, and that there were people thinking that maybe you thought she did not make for great TV. Do you think there are any people that are on?
People think that?
I saw that before I jumped on here, and I thought, what? You know what? Let me just ask.
Yeah, I never said. Yeah, that's crazy. I never said anything like that. That's crazy.
Well, you know what? We came to the horses. We checked it out with you, and we got the answer. That's not the case. Are there reality shows and you don't have to name any, that you think are not, because some shows are drama based, right?
Yeah.
And your shows have a lot of drama, but there's also a lot of substance that
Totally.
balances that out. Do you think that we have gotten to a point, and I think things are changing a little bit because the landscape of TV has changed a bit, but do you think that there were reality shows that don't really have that balance? I know that a lot of the shows on Zeus have got a lot of kind of bad rep or just bad feedback on people feeling like there's not a good balance. Do you think there needs to be a balance of drama and substance, or do you think that there are some shows that it's fine if it's just, it's just drama?
Listen, this is how I honestly feel. I feel like when you think of different genres of television and music, there's always something for somebody, right? When I think of, let's just say music, for example, you have hip hop, trap, pop, country, R&B. Like, there's something for everybody. And one thing that I make sure is that I do what I feel is natural for me and what I want to watch. Okay. I don't find it interesting to see a show where every episode someone's having a physical fight in every single episode.
Right.
That's not for me anymore. I used to watch Bad Girls Club back in the day.
Yeah.
And that show had no personal story. It was really like, you got a bunch of bad girls in the house that don't fight.
Ding, ding, ding. It's a bell ringing every ding, ding, ding. It's just
ding, ding, ding. And listen, back in my 20s and early 30s, I was watching like this is the best thing in the world. I loved it.
Yeah.
But again, I was in my early 30s, and there were people at that time the Bad Girls Club was on. There were people in their 40s who loved to watch Atlanta Housewives. Yeah. And then there were people in their 40s who were watching other programs. So I'm never one to say you can't provide this for someone. I feel like, listen, and when I say we, I mean television and content creators. We're creating and producing shows for an audience. I know my audience.
Right.
And I produce shows for them. I'm not worried about what this person is doing because no shade, let's be real here, they also have an audience too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you really see it. So I'm never one to campaign for like, you shouldn't do that. You should show more of us in a certain light. I feel like for me, I created my production company, Kingdom Reign Entertainment, because I wanted to show something else. And there's people who still look at my shows like, oh my God.
I was going to ask you, do you feel a responsibility? Because I think, and when I say our community, I mean African American or Black community. There's a conversation that says, if you have a platform, we should be trying to at least do something positive and feed positive, because you're in a very influential, you have a very influential position, right? So do you feel a responsibility to show positivity that can be seen as something uplifting the community, or do you think entertainment should be clearly entertainment?
I think the answer to that question is yes to both, right? But I definitely think it lies on the individual doing what they feel is natural for them. For me, as Carlos King, I prefer, like I said multiple times before you asked that question, I like Black professionals. That's me. And that's something that I want to show to the world. And I want to show that so that in the midst of the trials and tribulations of their personal lives, at least you're rooting for them professionally.
Yeah.
But that's my responsibility to be authentic to me and what I want to show the world. But I'll be very honest with you. I don't judge or look sideways at those in my same field who go the other route.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if that's what works for you, and that's what you want to do. If you have an outlet to express your creativity, do not feel like that person has responsibility to show less fight. I don't think that's their responsibility. But I think at the end of the day, you have to be able to, and I'm going to be real with this, you have to be able to not only sleep at night with your decisions, you have to be able to ride through with it and come with the consequences of your decisions. Right. And that's why when you think about some of these other programs where it's like this of the time. And then you see people saying, I'm in the hospital, I'm about to sue you.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want none of those parts. I like working with people where you saw the Nightcap. We can talk about sex at 10 o'clock at night, and we can laugh at it. And they'll be like, Carlos, we love you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I like you guys how objective and fair he is being about other shows and the producers on those shows, because he could really, be critical, right? But I really like that. That's really refreshing to see that. So I really like that about Carlos.
But I want to do that. But I want to make it very clear that I have a personal responsibility to make sure that I'm doing what's authentic for me, and what happens to be authentic for me is I like working with Black professionals.
Yeah. If you saw, this is the last question in this vein, but if you saw one of your cast members kind of self-destructing, right? Do you feel like it is your responsibility, I'll go back to that word, as the producer and the person that brought them into this situation, to kind of shield them from themselves? Because if you make a mistake in life, that's one thing. You make a mistake on national television, that could have a different outcome, right? So do you kind of see yourself as like responsible for the careers of the people that you bring under your company and your production company?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm their parent.
That's
Even
right.
though they're older than me. I'm very concerned about my entire cast and staff members. And because at the end of the day, I do feel a responsibility to make sure that they're okay. Yeah. And there's several occasions of me making phone calls like, you need to chill. Yeah. Or you may want to rethink this, honey. Yeah. I do that constantly. Yeah. Because, I feel responsible for them. They're a part of my life. Yeah. I'm never gonna say, well, that's your decision, girl. You wanna drink yourself too. That's not my spirit. Yeah. I'm not here to take advantage of people, and I'm not here to watch people self-destruct for entertainment. Right. So you're not exploiting, because that is the feeling I think people get with some production companies, is they feel like the talent is exploited, and the fact that your talent, you can tell there's a natural relationship that isn't the vibe that we get. But I wanted to ask your opinion on that. Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. And it's funny, when you watch the reunion, I think it was part 3 reunion. And it was part 3 reunion. We were about to wrap things up, and the cast were joking. We've been shooting for almost 10 hours. And they said, Carlos, who's your favorite? And I was like, I don't have a favorite. And they said, it's Martell. And then I'm like, why Martell? And they said, because you call him the most. And I'm always like, now that is true. Because I'm always like, hey, Martell. Are you okay? So, again, that's just an example of I really do take time to talk to them off camera. Yeah. To make sure that everyone's okay. I love that. Well, I'm excited. I want to know what you are most excited about. You have Love and Marriage Huntsville is just a machine that continues to go. DC is quickly becoming a favorite as well. And then I'm actually really excited about the Bell Collective, because I just like those Southern girls, because they were so... I love the fact that you are doing things that are different than what everyone expects. Like, I don't know I didn't even know what was going on in Mississippi. I would never have thought about that till that show. And then you see these women and they're dealing with the same thing. So I love the idea that it's something very different, but it's still us, and it's just in a city that's not overly exposed, So what are you most looking forward to for the remainder of 2022 with all your shows? Ooh, to continue the Love and Marriage train, is a blessing to be a Black man who created a franchise. That's always been my dream. So to do that has been, nothing short of God's blessing and favor on my life. So continue to do that. Looking forward to people watching Bell Collective and hosting that reunion because that's going to be fun. And more episodes of the Nightcap with Carlos King and just getting more into people's business.
Does your dog like the show? I was like, is he enjoying himself? Because, sometimes you never know what your pet is going to do.
No, she is a diva. And what's funny is she likes to be in her own space. She's a Gemini.
Okay.
And she could be a bit moody, right? You don't know what you're gonna get. So she likes to she'll come out and she'll let me go, and she just runs off to the audience and doesn't want to sit by with you, Crystal. I love being there for them and engaging with them.
Yeah, it's great seeing your conversations because we know that you know the backstory. And then seeing you being able to kind of pull that out is really cool. I'm so happy for you. I've been able to watch your career. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, that is all I have to say about that. Get down in Miss Robinson's comments, honey. Let me know what you thought about this here video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I am your girl, Brand New, and I will check you guys out in the next video.